Um, Good afternoon. So this will be a multi-category tournament. I'm Susrain. I'll be commentating this race. Being head start, and I'm sure Mumu will follow. So I'm actually not too sure what the category is. Oh, 100%, very nice. That's my favorite comment. That's my favorite category for this week. A lot of text, you'll be seeing a lot of tricks, a lot of movement that are very difficult. Super Metroid is in my opinion, it's a movement-based game more than anything. The tricks are there, the tricks are fancy, tricks are impressive and complicated, but the movement really separates runners at the high level as with every other. So for 100%, we'll be focusing a lot on the movement, and when the tricks show up, I will commentate along the way. This beginning series sequence, I'm sure it's no surprise. Ridley will grab the Metroid and run away, and runners will be looking for some. We're going to be expecting good escape times from both runners. They are. I know both runners. They've been playing for a long time. They are very experienced. So this steam room Dink is in right now, that's very RNG heavy. He got hit once. That's pretty standard. And this tile room too, the falling tiles, they're mostly random. But he gets through it no problem. And the final climb is probably the most technical room in the escape. I think it's a 42. That's it's acceptable. Well, apparently they are. The race is going to have to restart, I think. But oh, so apparently Mumu Didi, he ran out of battery on his end, so the race will have to restart. I think the category will stay the same, so I still get the honor to 100% race, but yeah, so we'll be expecting Dink to reset pretty soon. Oh, sorry, I think. Anymore. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so they're doing the restart. That's cool. So the 42, it's an acceptable time, but I'm sure Link can aim for better time. So this is his second chance. And apparently Mumu has to go through the beginning costume, which is give or take 2 minutes. The task when you make a task with this game, you have to start from this costume every time. But thankfully, Mumu does seem to have speed up enabled, so this costume will be much more tolerable than usual. And we'll be expecting him to do a reset right here. When you perform a reset when Samus enters colony, enters Ceres, then next time when you start from the elevator. If you reset during that explosion cutscene at the end of the opening cutscene, then when you restart the game, you start from that small explosion cutscene. Okay, he wanted to reset specifically after entering Ceres. And I actually didn't see if Mumu enabled Moonwalk or not. That's one movement option you have in this game. That will be we may or may not see it explored. Hopefully this race begins soon. There we go. So much more distinct start for both runners. So Mumu actually has input display enabled, allowing me to explain this trick called arm pumping. So you can see the L and R, the L and R inputs just shown at the bottom of Mudi's screen. So he's basically pumping his arm cannons, switching back from just pressing angle up and angle down, alternating every time Samus changes her pose while moving forward, she moves 1 extra pixel. And you want to do, obviously you want to do as many as possible, but these are just frame savers. I hear you do, for every 2 pumps, you save 1 frame when you don't have speed booster. That's just what I hear, but no one knows the exact time serum. But it's a cool thing to add. Just a small optimization you can do everywhere. I think might have bonked the main door. Bonks the second one, but the escape times are looking pretty close. This fourth room though, third room, can be a huge source of separation. Both runners get unfavorable steam patterns, but they make it through. A tile in mid-air. When you get hit by a tile in mid-air, that's worse than getting hit on ground. Quite a bit of trouble, and he finished up with a 40-36. Meanwhile, I believe Dean had a 43, so he did manage to get a better time than the last round, so this is already a better start for him. But the separation in Sarah's escape really means nothing for 100%. This is a long category. I'm anticipating probably a 1 hour, 25-minute-ish run from both runners. A few seconds they lost at the beginning, really surmount to nothing. They starting their exploration of Zebes. And the arm pump technique I mentioned earlier, as you can see them, you can see Link doing a few, and you can also see Moo doing a few. These will save the most time before Samus has any movement items, because that's when her movement is most limited. So they will be trying to do as many as possible in early game. And both runners, it seems like they both have moonwalk enabled. So the technique you just saw move these sides is called moonfall. Then you have a moonwalk is a movement option that allows Samus to walk backwards. And if you jump out of a moonwalk, then your falling speed is actually uncapped. So Mumudi just fell all the way to the bottom in that vertical climb room. That's probably one of the, in 100%, that has to be the most time-saving moonfall they can do. Link also went for it, but he missed the dash slightly. He missed the jump slightly. So those are 4 or 5 seconds in that room alone just allowed Didi to pull ahead. These few rooms at the beginning of Zebes, even though the planet is not awakened yet, these rooms can be quite tricky if you want to optimize the movement. See this construction zone exit from Umu. He fires 2 blocks. Okay, Link does the same, so there was no advantage on in that single room, but we'll be expecting very different, or mostly different room strategies throughout the run. Super Metroid has many options for every room you can do. There are a bunch of things you can do in every room that end up being that are about the same speed, or in some cases faster or slower or more consistent. So both runners doing the getting a pretty nice pit room, and this climb room, this vertical climb, is one of the more difficult rooms in early game, and you can see this is one of the major strat differences you can observe in all of Super Metroid is this climb. The runners, all runners have different ways to do the climb. Moon did the standard right side wall jump climb, whereas Link did the JD climb, where you do a bunch of ledge grabs, and ledge grab is just a way to make Samus dance sooner out of a spin jump. And that's another way to optimize your movement. You can do it everywhere you want, out of every jump. And if you do it perfectly, as in frame perfect, then you can manage the task. But that's just one of the reasons that Super Metroid is humanly, like the task really separates itself from humans, because the options, the things you can do to optimize your movement is just uncountable. This mini boss move is they're both fighting right now. It's probably the hardest mini boss, honestly, for every Super Metroid run, or most Super Metroid runs. You want to kill him you want to get a missile refill from him and finish him off with a missile as a winged hit. But you don't finish him off with a missile. The bomb Chorizo, the boss is called, will actually have an extra animation worth as long as 1 second. This wall jump, series of wall jumps, because right now it's called the Alcatraz escape. One of the hardest things to learn for new runners of this game, saying about 7 seconds going up the left side. Grabbing their first energy tank of this game, you'll be grabbing 14 of them in 100%. These will give Samus an instant health refill as well as giving her more total health. So there are many routes you can do for 100%. There are 2 standard routes. There are variations of it that you can do by picking up early power bomb. Both runners actually opted to take damage in that green pirate shaft. This indicates that there will be there's no early power bomb route for either runner. So we'll be expecting to see either early grapple route or early ice route. That movement we just did, that morph movement, that's called a mock balling, allowing Samus to preserve run speed while in ball form. And this is getting this super missile is a very early sequence break. You're supposed to fight a mini boss called Sports Ball and grab super missile from that mini boss, but doing this mock ball technique allows Samus to just entirely bypass that mini boss. And Link went for the same trick, the same mock ball, but he probably lost his speed somewhere, so he actually fell through the crumble blocks, having to reload the room. That's a rather significant source of time loss, because reloading the room involves 2 door transitions, and every door transition is give or take about 3 seconds. So that's at least 6 seconds he lost there. Went for a reverse mock ball out of that reserve tank room. It's pretty difficult. Saves about 6 seconds, I think. Let's see if Link gets it. Oh, okay, Link doesn't opt to go for it, which is a safe option. It is definitely a tricky strategy this early on in the game. That's what you'll be seeing the runners do most common. So there will be there are the fast strategies, the very fancy strategies you can do for virtually every room, but they will probably be opting for a lot of safety strats or easier and consistent strats. And consistency is really key in this game because the backup strats sometimes are just really finicky, and you rarely practice them anyway. Heading into this giant room called the Big Pink, and there is actually going to be a missile pack on the left side of the screen. Link almost skipped charge beam. This beam they are picking up right now, the charge beam, is very helpful in early game. You can decide to skip it for later, and it may or may not be faster, but in most standard routes and for virtually every Hundo runner, skipping charge beam is an irregularity. They would want to pick it up. But the missile pack to the left, you might be wondering, it's on the way, why are they not picking it up? Well, because this game has a complicated layout, Samus basically has to, with their current Samus and her equipment, she can't actually collect every single item in this Green Star area, so both runners will have to do a revisit of Green Star. It's called the Green Star Cleanup, and it's actually faster to pick up that one missile pack than now. So this vertical room called Red Tower. Okay, this is interesting. Room DD opts to take health refill in this left room. This is not a standard thing to see, but Room actually had quite a bit of low health there. He had I think less than 40. If he gets grabbed by one of the Yappy Moles, one of the enemies in the next room. And you can see the refill really paid off for Moon. Without the refill, he could have died because he just took 60 damage. So these making decisions on the fly, just one thing that really fascinates me about all Super Metroid runs, really. Meanwhile, Link picks up this beam called Spazer. This allows Samus's beam hitbox to drastically widen. Helpful item early game, but you won't be seeing it for too long. Maybe another 4 minutes. Actually, that's a total lie. Spazer will persist throughout the run until much later. Entrance strat. Okay, so Mumu doesn't do the optimal entrance, but he goes for wall jump. Very nice. This is another sequence break he did. The game intends Samus to pick up high jump boost before visiting this layer, but by doing that precise wall jump, you can actually enter this area slightly earlier than you're supposed to. And Link is heading into the first major boss of this category. 53 health. That should not be a if he can get this quick kill, but of course it's a race setting, and if he misses the quick kill, 53 might be a sketchy health, but let's see what he does. Goes for char beam setup. That's the okay. So he does miss, unfortunately. The char beam setup is actually the one of the safer setups you can do for getting this quick kill that he unfortunately missed. But just these things happen. I really hope Link survives. Bit. Also, meanwhile, DD is doing the okay. DD got the setup for the quick kill, but he was not he wasn't efficient enough in his super missile shots. He needed one extra ammo to hit Crate to have the quick kill, but he actually did the backup very fast. So Crate actually gave him a pretty good pattern. So minimal time loss from him there, both picking up their Varia suit. Now Varia suit basically prevents Samus from any heat damage, so they will be heading down to Norfit. This party zone, as we call it, the room Link was just in right now. If you don't do the beginning section correctly for that like 4-second room, then the Kaya Hunters on top can really miss you off. So let's see Moo get it. Nice. You really want to get that landing. Having the energy tank for Link, and let's see what Moo does here. So you see that he shot a missile upward and to kill the enemies. That's not the only reason he does that, and you'll see this from time to time, is to open the gate that he entered from. So Super Metroid, certain rooms, the gates are programmed in such a way that you have to fulfill certain trigger for the gate to open. In most rooms, it's about defeating all enemies in that room. So like this room, Link is entering right now. So you can see the gate on the right is gray, so he has to kill that gamer, which is the sole enemy in the room, for it to open. DD misses the gamer, or sorry, it's not gamer. That's Sova, the Sova. So he has to. Okay, this is interesting. So they both pick up the high jump boost, a very strong movement item. But and you see there's a missile on the top of this room that ideally you want to go get. But since Mumu missed killing that Sova, he needs to take the roundabout path of killing the Sova first and then going up. There's a small time loss there. Just these small things can really lead to differences. So Link is actually ahead by quite a bit. I want to say 15 to 20 seconds. So this sequence of rooms Link is in right now, these 3 rooms, or actually the next few rooms, are all very tricky to move optimally. So you want to kill these 2 Garudas and grab this missile hidden in the acid. That's just a very awkwardly hidden missile. Hard to imagine how a first player of this game can find that missile, but he does. In tight, you'll likely see both runners just morphing ball form and just roll on the ground. That's actually a very, very fast way to do that room, even though it's very basic. There are faster stretches to go through that room, but they get very hard, and they save little time. So Link is doing nice. He got the bubble mountain climb. Going up that. So let's see it on Didi's screen. You can get a wall jump off of the wall to the right of this room. Oh, Didi wanted to get more run speed to make the wall jump more lenient, but he actually went back too far and went into the save room. That's 6 seconds, as I said, from the door transitions alone. But both runners making it successfully up Bubble Mountain. That's actually a very tricky room if you fail it. And grabbing that missile right before speed boost there, a common item to forget, I say, for this category. So that's one thing too. 100% you need to pick up every single. So I think I didn't explain the category, but yeah, you need to pick up every single item in this game is what and then beat the game is what the category entails. So if the runners will have to remember all the item locations, and some of the items can really escape you if you're somewhat rusty on this category. So Link was doing farming there. There is a few spots in Super Metroid. You can actually farm the enemies, and Link was okay. I actually didn't know what Link was doing there. He probably just wanted a super missile. But you'll most likely see the runners do a lot of farming throughout the run. This is 100% because Samus has so much ammo, but at some point it's inevitable. So at certain points in the game, Samus may need a specific amount of items, say super missiles or health or missiles or even power bombs to even progress. So the runners will have to be just killing off enemies and grabbing their drops from time to time. And of course, what the enemies drop is more or less random, so that can be a source of time separation too. This is a very, very strong upgrade. It allows Samus to pierce through walls. Also, increase the damage output. Okay, so exiting this room is actually slightly tricky because you see Link bonk there while trying to get run speed. So in Super Metroid, the amount of this horizontal distance Samus runs before doing her jump can change her jump height in all sorts of funky ways, and it's actually very intricate. So there are probably better examples of that later on. So I'll try to explain once that happens. But anyway, exiting that room is actually a lot harder than it looks. It's definitely non-trivial. And I mentioned that there are two major routes. There are other routes too. Actually, in my opinion, there are 4 major routes we can take, but some people may disagree. And this is the easiest of them all, I believe. And it's called Early Grapple, where they fight Crocomire, which is on the left. Early to get Grapple Beam for a certain portion of the game afterwards. And even though this is that was a strange behavior from a Crocomire on the left-hand side. And even though this route is the easiest, it's only about 20 seconds slower than the absolute fastest, so it's not too big of a deal. And Crocomire, the time whether he opens his mouth or does the swipe is purely random, as far as I know. And you need him to open his mouth to shoot backwards, so this can be also a big source of separation. But I think both runners got mediocre RNG. So I think Link just had got to preserve his lead, the same amount of lead. So Moo did a shot to the right hand side. Okay, Link actually doesn't do it. Interesting. The shot Didi did to the right is the wraparound shot, which is possible when you have Wave Beam, because in Super Metroid the rooms are the out of bounds area in Super Metroid basically consists of the same copies of the present room, just aligned horizontally. So by shooting to your right hand side, you can actually open this Oh, okay. My apologies. So Link actually also did shot. So you saw the door was actually open on the left hand side because um, the wrap around shot shooting a wave beam to the right hand side of the room, allowing them to open the gate on the door on the left hand side because how the rooms are connected, as I just mentioned, in the out of bounds area. And Link missing that spark actually allowed D to catch up quite a bit. This is a very close race so far, right now. And D decides to farm once before going on. That's a smart idea because the enemies actually take some time to respawn. Oh, and I forgot to mention, but they just they got their first power bomb, which is that huge explosion that you just saw. Oh, and interesting. Both runners decided to pick up this missile early. Link did a jump to get the missile, which is slightly faster than the Shine Spark Moon did to get up there to have that missile. Optimally, you grab that missile on the way back from Grappling Beam, which is the item they just obtained. It allows you to grapple onto certain anchor blocks to move Samus in all sorts of strange ways. Very, very hard to control. So it's optimally you grab the missile up there on the way back, but both runners decided to pick it up early, and that's very clever. It's a very good safety strat because on the way back, getting that missile is actually difficult. There's a grapple strat you can do called Indiana Jones. That's very, very punishing to mess up because the power bomb blocks and the speed blocks are they reform when you come back. So you can't really do the huge jump Link did to get up there or the Shine Spark move did. You have to do the entire beginning sequence of the room over again. So picking up early is a good safety. And Moo has slightly lower health than he wants to, I think. So he is gonna perform wall jumps to get up here. Slightly slower, but saves the dozens of health. Both runners farming here at the well a little bit. You're basically looking for super missiles and most important health because the area you're heading to next is actually requires a lot of health to get you there fast, and the boss is quite strong. This vertical room the two runners were just in, Moo deciding to farm on the hack attacks. This is actually one of the, in my opinion, one of the more tricky rooms in this entire area to move efficiently. Basically, all vertical rooms in Super Metroid that has platforms in it, many platforms, are difficult to maneuver in. The vertical rooms are all very technical to optimize because obviously here you're going against gravity. I mean that also applies in just the real physics world. So in particular, there's three or four screens from Link's side. There's a huge tall room called Red Tower that both runners will trying to go up. That room has some sick strats, so let's keep an eye for that. Link doing the Alpha Spark, as the community calls it, even though this isn't quite his first Shine Spark. So Shine Sparking, as they did, is a movement thing you can do. It's an intended thing you can do in the original game. Once Samus gets to the boost state while running, you can press down to charge the spark, and you have three seconds to basically unleash the speed and fly in one direction if you're choosing. So very nice. Link making up the Red Tower by shooting. So you saw there was a block on the top of this room that prevented Samus. So Link decided to shoot it out first, then doing the climb. And Moo actually did a powerbomb strat, using a powerbomb to kill all the rippers in the way, as well as break that block. So that's a very, very good good safety strat. Oh, Link gets eaten by the flower, Samus Eater. 3 seconds lost there. I think both runners are more or less in sync right now. Yeah. I think they're pretty much synced right now. Moo does have more health than Link, so that may or may not Oh, and Moon gets grabbed by the same flower, the same Samus Eater. I guess the flower needs to do justice. Cannot be partial. But the health difference and the ammo difference may or may not. 100% the ammo difference is rather minor, but the health difference, at least in this point of the game, can still lead to major time differences later on. So you see, Lulu did a shine spark to kill these side hoppers as a and then catching up to Link. So what happened there was Super Metroid has a bit of issue with lag at times, and it's most evident when Samus uses a power bomb. So by doing a shine spark and killing the 3 hoppers in that room, Lulu was able to reduce the lag of power bomb explosion and save a little bit of time. And Link actually didn't go for it. I think he may or may not have been concerned with his health, and that just allowed Ruby to catch up. Just these small strat choices for each room. And since they both have grapple, okay, Ruby is going for the swag here. So when they have the grapple beam, it is fastest to. Oh, never mind. He didn't do a full thing. So when you have grapple beam, it is faster to just use it to this room like Link is doing right now. Or you can do it the way Didi did, Mumu did, which is by charging a shine spark on the left, sparking over the moat room. And both is performing this ocean spark to get to wreck ship. So this is where their health will become very important. But first of all, there's this little missile pack hidden here on the left. So this wreck ship area, you can see that there's no light at all. That's not how it's supposed to be. In fact, when the ship is lighted, that's when all the items in the wreck ship spawn. So there are some rooms that contains items right now that you can go to by doing various means of glitches. And you'll see that the items aren't there because the wreck ship isn't lighted up. But that missile pack was present, meaning that the developers actually intended for the players to go grab it early, because that room, when the ship is lighted on, becomes very, very precarious with damage being all over the place. So it is absolutely a good idea to get it early. They're coming to you right now, Phantom. Is very, very difficult. Let's see what stress they choose to employ. So a fast eye opening for Mumu. Phantom only becomes vulnerable when he opens his eyes, and the timing at which he does it is purely random. And it's a huge source of separation. By the pattern alone, Didi just I keep calling him Didi. I should be consistent. Mumu just gained 12 seconds opening. And they're going for a strike called Doppling. So usually after Phantom takes 5 missiles in the face, he just disappears and becomes invulnerable. But by firing, unfortunately Link didn't. Okay, that's a rather lenient pattern. Okay, Link needs to watch out for his health. But by approaching Phantom, there you go. That was a very good dodge on Link's side. By approaching Phantom and firing missiles at a specific rhythm, you are able to strike Phantom before it closes its eyes, which takes 10 frames. That allows you to get more missiles into him than Samus otherwise could. Mumu finished up the boss, so he's moving on. Ding got very close. That was very close for him. You might be wondering why Samus didn't die there, even though her health reached 0. There's this item they picked up early on called Reserve Tank. You can see the little the 4 letters Auto on Mumu's screen next to his energies. The reserve tanks basically contain energies. They store energies separate from the energy tanks, but there you can't really see how much is in them, and it's hard to refill the energy tanks. So the energies in reserve tank. So it's actually a pretty bad item, 100%. But that reserve tank just saved Link from dying. Now that the ship is lighted up, all the robots start moving, all the floating like spongy things start to become alive, and the items start spawning. So they'll be picking up a few of them. This room Link is in right now, in particular, is rather tricky because of the moving conveyor belt and as well as the electricity and spikes. Now, watch on Moon's screen, he's entering one of the more dangerous rooms in this entire category, but he does have superb health. So these spikes, okay, maybe I spoke too soon. These spikes, the ones on the floor I think deal 60. The ones that crush you actually deal. Okay, sorry, the ones on the floor should deal 30 to Samus right now. The ones that fall from above deal 50. Or sorry, 100. They deal 100 for every take Samus takes. So that room can actually kill 100% runs, even despite how many energy tanks you have. And very nice for Moon, he gets the energy tank behind this area, so he's pretty safe. Link needs to watch out. Okay, he's taking safe. He didn't chance that last crusher. That was an instant kill for him if he got hit, or close to instant kill. But he makes it through. This small vertical room they are going through right now, one of the absolute trickiest rooms in Wreck Ship to fully optimize. Oh, and Moon going for grapple boost, very nice. So the grapple beam, actually, one use, as you saw on Link's screen, is to grapple the anchor blocks to allow Samus to move. And again, okay, Moon takes a bunch of hits. That's not ideal. One thing that's unique to Wreck Ship is that you can actually, or not really to Wreck Ship, you can also do in Meridia, but you can actually use a grapple to touch these electricities, and that actually does damage to Samus. And since Samus takes damage or takes knockback, you can actually do a damage boosting technique, which I forget to mention, but it's something you can do when Samus takes knockback. And we call it the attic. You have to kill all the enemies in the room to progress. And pretty good opener for Didi. He didn't quite get to kill the last Kai Hunter, but pretty good room overall. This room can have varying levels of difficulty depending on your strat choices. Mumu did one of the more consistent strats, and which is pretty fast and rather more or less free. But we'll see what Link has to offer. In the meantime, Mumu is going through this robot room. You want to clip through these robots, but they're giving him some trouble. So let's see. So Link opting for the Link opts for the ammo version, and then that's clever. That's clever. By using ammo to kill all the enemies, you get to take your time and pick up their drops. And since Link was rather low on health, or since he lost his reserve tank earlier, he wanted to refill it. And at the same time, man, this health for Mumu is not ideal. This is not optimal. He needs a specific amount of health in roughly 2 minutes to get to a certain item, but he doesn't have it. So we'll see what he chooses to do. Link though, he clipped through both of the robots, so that was a very, very good room for him. Very solid. And Mumu decided to Shine Spark up to the Sky Missile. So you see a missile just entirely off screen embedded in the ceiling. There are two main ways to get up there. One is by doing just a big spin jump, or the other is doing a Shine Spark. The Shine Spark is more consistent and loses health, but it's more consistent, but it loses health and time. And honestly, Mumu cannot afford to sacrifice his health anymore. This is very low health. I really hope he can make it across the bowling. Both runners opting for the same strat to get the Sky Missile. So at least there's no difference here. Okay, and you see Mumu setting up for this short charge. Short charge is a way to minimize the distance Samus needs to move before getting the Brusu state. Does he have enough? Oh, he does. Oh my god. Mumu, please. This horizontal room called bowling has spikes in it that deal some damage. Moon was going for the fast strat of doing a Shine Spark across it, but he missed the first jump, and doing that Shine Sparks actually stopped when Samus' health reaches 29. So the spark actually stopped midway, and he took a spike hit, but he did have his reserve full, so that was a scary moment for Moon, but he has survived. And you can see Link taking a safety strat. of just using a grapple. That's the intended way you get across it. Using grapple to conserve health. It is slower, but health is really crucial here. These robots, they back up proportional to the amount of projectiles they take. So Moon was using missiles to push him back. But Dink actually has way less missile than Mumu does. I don't think in this category. Okay, sorry, I need to mention this first. This one item, this reserve tank, the Rip Ship reserve tank. There's a Shine Spark block that you see on the right hand side of the screen for Mumu. Then you have to break with a Shine Spark to obtain it, and that's the only reason they are doing this routing, where they head down to Northair to pick up Speed Booster, then come back up to Red Ship, because that item you really need a Speed Booster to get it. And Mumu has not 40 health left, so he almost didn't have enough health to grab this item, which will be just a painful time loss. But he does make it through, so the runners are still in it. If he can't get it, he needs to loop around Red Ship one more time. Watch the cutscene, which is about 40 seconds. So huge time loss. So he was very close there. Almost had that was almost catastrophic for Mumu, but he nails it, and both runners getting suit, and now it's time to move freely underwater. Okay, let's see this. Okay, Link doesn't go for the mothball there. Nice, very nice. So despite all the health Mumu lost, since you come through this ship area anyway, you can actually take this health refill as well as ammo refill without too much difficulty. You will take 15 seconds time loss, but it really helps. It really helps you in the long run. Given how little health Mumu had, and he even gets the optimal Shine Spark. So the Shine Spark, the diagonal Shine Spark Mumu just did. You saw that Samus actually got bonked on one of the what's the word? Concave. One of the concave, or is it convex? The concave shaped ceilings that allows Samus to travel not as vertically up, saving a little bit of fall time over Link. Deciding to do a Shine Spark in that room, that's a fast and consistent way to do it. It's just slightly slower, but consistency is key. So Mumu is lining up for a wraparound shot, which allows him to open the door on the left side of the screen. And this is very precise. You really need to hear the audio to know to see if you got it. But I believe you just heard Link's on Link's side. You heard the door open. So now by doing the Shine Spark, he can actually go through the door and go all the way to the end. And this is the one reason. Wait, Didi, are you? Oh, that's he didn't know that. He could have just done the Shine Spark. Oh my god. So Mumu actually didn't. I think he wasn't really finding the cue correctly, so he just opted to not do the wraparound shot and just go for it, I suppose. And you can see how slow it is on Mumu's side without the wraparound shot. This horizontal room is just so awkward. A big source of reason. Oh my god, Link! You kind of didn't deserve that, but I suppose you did. So Link was roughly one pixel away from not breaking the right side crumble block. So you see two columns of crumble blocks right here. You want to break both of them while falling down so that you can grab both missiles up there. If you miss one of them, like Link almost did, then that's about 55 seconds of time loss. So Mumu is doing a better job of demonstrating the safe way. By standing in the middle, there's no chance of missing one of the columns. So that's so pretty good job. So good job for both runners. Not choking these missiles. I definitely have choked this section many times. And Link here entering Brinstar. So this is a Brinstar cleanup we were talking about earlier. He now has Power Bomb, Speed Booster, Wave Beam, many other what else? I suppose those are the only items that really matter. So they will be picking up all the items in this area. There is a route called the Moon Dance route that you can do to get these items earlier. So you can skip this cleanup entirely, and that route is pretty fast too. It's just under cultivated. How many runs around it? Okay, neither runner went for the moonfall in this green vertical room, which is a shame. It's not too difficult to moonfall, but it looks pretty cool, and I really like to see it. But of course, consistency is what matters. Now this horizontal room, this spike room that Link is crossing, very nice. He crossed within 3 boosts. That's about as good as you can get. He did spend an extra second or two setting it up by moving to a specific tile, but those D boosts are very tricky. You want to space them out and time them correctly so that you don't fall below. Let's see how Mumu does. Okay, nice one. Another good one. Okay, clear room for both runners. That's very nice. Even for top runners, I think even the world record for 100% actually fell from one of the D boosts in that room. So getting clean spike rooms for both runners, that's a good thing to see. So Link deciding to take a hit from the reel and running through that room. We'll see what the Mumu opts to do, but optimally you actually shoot out all the enemies to avoid any knockback. So let's see what Mumu does. Okay, he went for the strat I said. I forget the name. The machine gun strat, I think, is what it's called. Maybe I'm incorrect, but he didn't quite get it. That's not a time loss. So didn't lose him any time over Link. So both runners did a shot. Yeah, Link actually. So there's a strat you can do here called Mission Impossible. I hear it saves around 2 seconds. No one's really timed it yet, but Link didn't really go for it, and I think Moon went for it, but he didn't quite get it since he killed all the hoppers. So yeah, I can only imagine he was going for it. You can actually escape this room before that crumble block on top of Moon's screen respawns. It's not too bad once you know how to do it, but it's slightly tricky. Neither runners really got it, so no separation there. Still keeping a close race, and there's a small bit of freedom you have in this section. You can come up to pick up this item, this energy tank Moon is picking up right now, or the super missile Link just picked up. One advantage of doing the way Link did it. Okay, never mind. I guess the yellow door was already open. So it's really runner's preference to. Okay, nice. Link gets that wall jump up there. It's really runner's preference to choose which item to get first. And okay, you see Mumu lining up. The screen does shake, so I think he got it. I think you got it, Mumu. I think you got it. Maybe he didn't realize, or okay. Sorry, I was mistaken. Now the screen now I see the screen shaking. That super missile shot to break the super missile block is way more specific than it looks because of the way the screen scrolls. You need a Samus to. You have to place Samus at the pixel perfect location. Mind you, that's pixel perfect, and due to the fact that super missiles are actually 2 projectiles and not 1 projectile to break that super missile block, and by doing that, you can actually skip a sports ball altogether. You see Mumu picking up the 1 missile back from way earlier. So you see him place a power bomb here, and they have to wait for a power bomb to break the block anyway. So that waiting time is what they will make full use of to grab the missile pack. Moon also did a pretty cool moonfall in that little vertical area. It's really hard to sit time with it, but it's cool to see. You saw Link did when coming back up, Link used a Shine Spark. The Shine Spark is slightly slower than doing dash grab. So let's see what Mumu does. Goes for a Shine Spark too. Cool. Keeping it fair. While Link placed a power bomb right after coming to this room, that power bomb actually opens the opens a yellow door way off screen that they will revisit in maybe even 30, I think maybe 30 minutes. It's a preparation for preparation for the future. Let's see if Link gets for. Okay, he doesn't. He may have went for it. There's a cool strat that Link could do there, but he hit it called Blockbuster. And I also noticed that Moo didn't really place that power bomb that I just mentioned. That's a standard thing to do. Placing that power bomb is a standard thing to do, but he didn't. So hopefully when he comes back, he remembers that the door is still yellow. And let's see if Moo gets this. Oh, he misses a jump. He was clearly going for the blockbuster strat, but it's a cool strat, but it only saves 1 second, so it's not very significant. And now, yeah, John in the chat pointing out that too. He didn't open the yellow door and breaking this glass tube with power bomb, allowing them to progress into Meridia. This is one of the nice. So Link is going for the safety strat here. There's a he misses the safety. Yeah, he's gonna opt for it again. There's a missile pack on the top of this room, and you need a shine spark to get it, but Link didn't align it correctly. So you see Moo for the hard strat of very nice and getting it. Oh my god, Link shine sparking horizontally. That short charge is that maneuver Moo just did is a lot harder than it looks. You have to get short charge. You have to do the short charge technique very well to be able to charge the spark in that little area, in that little ground. And maybe Link wasn't finished, so he went up there to get he went up to the other platform, which has more horizontal length, so he had more room for the short charge. He has some pickups. He does get the short charge. He does get the shine spark. So go for him. Nice movement gets the missile in the wall. This missile in the wall, you need to. It is so cleverly hidden. You need to shoot it open with a shot onto it. And it's and I was about to say it's actually slightly tricky timing of that beam shot. So Link actually fell past it, but saves himself with the wall jump. And Moo going to grab performing presumably a shine spark up here. So you see both runners doing many shine sparks. Many of the shine sparks are just for consistency. In fact, shine sparking as fast as it seems is actually oftentimes not the fastest strat to go through a room because it has I think 1.5 seconds. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. When you bonk. So as you can see on the Moo side, so Samus just gets locked there, and that cooldown is what makes most shine sparks on average. So the optimal strats usually just involve timing of jumps correctly, but crash animation 70 frames. Thank you, John. But consistency, as I say, is important. The shine sparks are all very consistent. And this little vertical climb Link has to do, did he hit the crab? I didn't see. It's actually a little tricky because there's a crab along the way, and wall jumping, if you're not used to it, is quite difficult in this game. Avoid that crab just has more difficulty. This room Link is about to enter is one of the hardest. Is the hardest room in this little entire area. Both the strat going in and the strat coming out are very difficult. So Link does get the weaving jump up there. That's cool. Slightly tricky because where you jump is it's rather blind because the screen doesn't follow the screen score doesn't really follow Samus there. Like you can see on Moon's side, you can't really see the right side of the screen because the screen doesn't scroll, right? So timing the jumps are very difficult. Moo didn't have quite the optimal way to go out, so let's see what Link can do. Ideally, you get a ball, but it's a very difficult strat to see. Oh, he misses a jump. Yeah, as I said, that's one of the consequences of not being able to see the ledge. just because how the room is just so mean. Just as a scroll. Power bomb, and he didn't quite. I don't know if he went for lag reduction strat. There's a lag reduction strat you can do here after placing his power bomb. Let's see if the goes. Actually, both runners did more is the identical strat, so that's cool. And Link opts to grab these missiles early. Very interesting. Very interesting. Link does have superb. Okay. About Muumu's side first. This mini boss, ideally, you want to fight him with a special beam combo called X Factor, which requires Samus to have only Charge Beam and Wave Beam equipped. But Muumu actually has Spacer equipped too, so he couldn't really do the X Factor stretch, so he had to settle for ammo kill. But he still did a pretty good job. And meanwhile, and you see on Link's side, at some point, I probably it's during Goddess Park, so he did unequip his Spacer Beam, so he's gonna see the decal setup, X Factor, the 4 particles hitting Fentu. Link should make quick 1 round. He can get it. Oh, he got hitbox, or he one more shot in Batu. That was close. That was close. That was almost a very sick 1 round from Link, but he missed one shot. But yeah, that's the strat. That's the optimal. And I'm so glad. These are key runners just showing all sorts of different strategies you can choose for every room, and that really adds flavor to Super Metroid race. It's definitely more interesting to see different rooms than identical rooms. Unfortunately, both runners missing the Spark Charge, so they can perform a very famous Chinese spark called Full Happy across this room. But that's just to keep things fair. Neither runners got it, so. This boss Mumu is fighting right now, Dragon, is one of the is a very unique boss in that it takes damage from Shine Spark. It's the only boss that takes from Shine Spark, and it may or may not be the only boss that takes damage from a pseudo screw too. Maybe Golden Chorizo takes damage, but I forget. And Shine Sparking does, I think, 600 damage per frame, or maybe 300. It's one of the two. I'm gonna say 300 per frame of damage when you're inside an enemy. But Dragon actually has damage reduced, so I think you only do 150 damage per frame with Samus sparking over Dragon. But in either case, it's still the absolute fastest source of damage, the most effective way to damage Dragon. So you'll see both runners going for it. In particular, Link will demonstrate. Okay, I don't think that was quite the correct setup for Link. I think he dashed too early, but let's see. Yeah, that was a little early. So Link was trying to manipulate his the X Factor strat, the 4 particles, to move in a particular manner to strike Dragon at the beginning, because Dragon's movement at the very beginning is actually fixed. He doesn't quite get it, but a few more Shine Sparks should do the work. Mumu did have a pretty good Dragon fight, so. Oh, and by using the so I forget to mention, but Link grabbing the 2 extra ammos earlier is a small time loss, but a very minimal one, maybe just a couple of seconds, I suppose. And having this extra ammo allows Samus to be more aggressive against Batu and Dragon. And I think the ammos really helped Link in this case, because he only has 7 left. 7 super left, and he just picked up 5. But right now, the 2 runners there's some separation between the 2 runners, but it's actually smaller than it seems, because Link picked up 2 extra items. This falling sand. Okay, there's a cool strat here. Mumu may or may not go for it. He's not gonna go for it. Okay, yeah, okay. So, due to the way the items are located or scattered across the Meridia, for 100% you need to do certain rooms twice. This particular room Mumu was just in, you need to go through it twice, and each time you go through it, there's a cool strat you can do. There's a cool speed Bluetooth strat you can do, but the first one is like that he didn't go for it. It doesn't save much time at all. So, but I really hope Mumu goes for the second Bluetooth strat though on the second way back. It's really cool to see. And I think did Mumu pick up that E tank? I don't think he did because his health isn't full. Okay, so now there's gonna be some separation between the tier runners until the end of Meridia because Dink is deciding to pick up many items early, which is a fair choice. Picking up the energy tank early doesn't cost anything. So here, this is the whole reason Mumu and Dink are doing the route of their choosing. Having grapple beam allows them to get into this area the intended way of breaking the grapple block. There are other ways to go about it, but the grapple ways is the absolute easiest, and it's slightly slower than doing the harder version of getting into it. It's called by doing a pixel perfect ice clip, but this is as I said, pixel perfect strats hard to get consistent at. Also, this area, there's not much you can do. This Shack 2 robot digging through these soils. Samus can do nothing about it. These are just specifically called Shack 2 blocks. So only Shack 2 and a few other enemies that in particular a snail can block. So the one optimization you can do in that room that Mumu went for was to awaken that little snail. It's called Dole. The snail's called Dole, but on the right hand side, so that it breaks the last few tiles of the block earlier than Shack 2 does. But he missed it, so let's see if he gets it. Thank you, John. Yeah, enemy block. Okay. Excuse my lack of terminology. So the reward for waiting out this long cutscene. Oh, Link not even. Okay, Link. I don't think Link is. He might be going for the optimization strat, but the reward for waiting out this long sequence is one of the best movement items you can get in this game, called Spring Ball, which allows Samus to preserve momentum in ball form while performing jumps. This opens up possibilities to many cool and difficult and fast speed tricks that involve Spring Ball usage. It's definitely one of my favorite items in this category, in all of Super Metroid. So now Mumu will be heading to pick up Plasma Beam, which is the absolute strongest beam in this. Well, sorry, not absolute. Maybe Rainbow Beam Hyper Beam is stronger, but it's the strongest beam Samus can use under normal circumstance, and it's just convenient that it's just on the way, because you need to go through this area you need to do a loop through Meridia anyway. So going through this area is actually it's very conveniently routed. The basement of Plasma Beam. Link missed the jump into this sand room, so he lost his momentum a little bit. So one of the things I forgot to mention that's difficult in Super Metroid is keeping your momentum, keeping Samus's momentum. When you have run speed and Samus blocks anything horizontal, then she will lose all of her horizontal momentum. So you'll lose all the speed you had, and even more specifically, you can perform certain actions mid-air while preserving your momentum. But in that case, you need to do some very awkward inputs, like holding jump, holding direction, or not pressing shoot or something. So it's actually very hard to maintain momentum while moving forward in mid-air. Through Moon is right now is very cool. The Cat Alley. He's probably gonna. He goes for the damage boost strat. That allows him to pick up all these super missile drops from which is pretty helpful. But there is a cooler, in my opinion, a cooler strat for that room. May or not be faster though. Might be equivalent in speed, but just cooler. Link might be going for. So now Mumu is picking up the energy tank, and there are 2 more items that Mumu will have to pick up after this sandfall. And after that, the 2 runners will be rather close, I hope. This is where I hope Mumu is going for the very, very cool Brusu strat. Is he? Oh, he is. He was going for it. I saw him do the attempt to short charge, but that little enemy looking out. Ouch. it's very randomly how it moves, and you actually can kill him while he's moving a specific way. In that room, I don't think you can kill him up while moving toward the left, optimally. And that enemy kind of blocked the Moo, so he wasn't able to attempt the cool strat. And Link having some trouble in this cat alley, so both runners went for the same farming strat, but the enemy, the timing at which it spits out its spikes is entirely random. So there's a lot of small randomness in Super Metroid, and the spikes knocked Link off of the ledge many times, just making him lose some time. That could be done through the sand pit, but I don't think Moo went for it. And that's an unfortunate time loss for Moo. That's an unfortunate mistake. He fell through the crumble block while playing it safe. Using a spring ball to get across that area is actually very safe. When Samus in spring ball form, all you need to do is to be holding the jump button while Samus lands on the crumble blocks from mid-air. Then Samus will jump on the first frame possible, so you never fall. So he went for the safety strat, but he still fell through the crumble block. That's maybe at least 5 seconds. And Link is like, the two of them are in the same room now. Okay, Link going for that's a safety. That was a safety strat. Link went for that. That I think is harder. he took his time to set it up, but I think he got it. Doing that wall jump into your ball is probably harder than doing the spring ball. But anyway, that finishes up all the items in Meridia, so they'll be piecing Crazy Layer first, actually. Moon almost made it across that entire room with space jump. That room has many bouncing enemies, so it's actually quite tricky to go through it optimally. And you see Moo visiting this. Okay, Link though. I need to focus on Link's screen, because this room, the sand room is actually horrendous. If you haven't played the game, it's hard to realize, but the sands actually push Samus down, and the falling sands that is, and the sands on the ground, the environment, actually can catch Samus's feet. So it's actually very, very tricky to maneuver through them. So Link has some hiccups. You will never know unless you play the game. So you see both runners went back to this crate area briefly to pick up one item that they weren't able to get early on, and that is this you're about to see on Link's side. Missile pack behind power bomb blocks. So when they first visited this area, they didn't have power bombs, so they are basically forced to revisit it, which is I think 45 seconds. Yeah, I think the revisit takes 45 seconds. I may be correct. Moo went for a cool speed booster strat, but they bonked in that ice room. Maybe Link will get it for us. Mock ball, very nice. The mock ball coming out is actually not too bad with all the equipment they have. The mock ball Moo just nailed though. That one is more fun to see. That's more tricky than it looks. Because when you're space jumping, Samus actually timing the space jumps are actually much trickier than it seems. You cannot spam it, but you can't spam it, so you cannot do the space jumping but too close together. But you can't do them too far apart either, because Samus will actually gain too much fall speed and just not be able to space jump at all. So the mock ball move area is actually very interesting, and the shine spark move there in that vertical room is a consistent strat. Oh, Moo actually arm pumped on this downward slope. It's one thing I forgot to mention, but when Samus arm pumps, since she moves forward by 1 pixel, there's a chance that she'll actually she'll actually miss one of the downward slope tiles entirely and just flying off the edge, which Moo did. So that's an unfortunate time loss for him. So is Link gonna be okay? So Link is going for the shine spark too. The shine charge too. Okay, he missed the charge. At that point, it's better to just space jump across. But I think he really wants to play it safe. Oh wait, he didn't. And he still no. So he went for the safety, but he didn't quite get it correctly. And this is and you can see why. You can see why both runners opt to go for the Shine Spark as safety, because this is what can happen with this room. If you miss the missile and miss the ledge, miss the jump, and miss freezing the Sova, Samus can fall quite a bit of the distance, and it's really hard to recover from it. That's an unfortunate time loss for Link. And in the meantime, Mumu has entered lower north end, and he's about to perform one of the cooler springball tricks if he can do it. That seems like too little speed. Yeah, that. Oh, still cool to see though. The springball won't make it all the way across, but still very cool strat to see. It's called the blue fireball. It's a little tricky too. And sitting in this acid statue will drain the acid, so they can progress in the game. But I think Link went for the damage boost, but he didn't quite get it. Okay, he gets a backup D boost off of Namike's flames. Ever so slightly slower. And on Lulu's side, okay, that was an absolute safety strat that you can take for getting this missile. You see the crumble blocks that are beneath there, and I early on mentioned how tricky it is to do space jumps consistently. So Moon actually opted to do the springball safety, because just by holding, if you're in springball form and you're holding your jump, you'll never fall through that. As long as you're holding jump, you'll never fall through that little gap. So you took it very safe, and that's a good call in a race setting. Also, this mini boss, Golden Chorizo, is probably the trickiest boss to fight overall, if he didn't have a safety spot. Yeah, so the safety spot for Samus to make quick work with him. And you'll see both runners, they will be crouching before Golden Chorizo and shooting upwards, because that actually allows Golden Chorizo to be double hit by Plasma, because Plasma pierces through enemies. And Mumu grabbing the strongest, the most powerful item in the game, the Screw Attack. It will destroy every single enemy upon first contact that are vulnerable to it. And Mumu is going to perform the Pinner Spark. Very nice. It's it. This vertical room called the community calls it the worst room in the game, and this room is 100%. It's not very difficult, but it's still, since it's a vertical room with many platforms, and as I always said, it's difficult to optimize your movement. So Link actually didn't crouch down, so you probably didn't see any of or most of Link's shot double hit Golden Chorizo. That's just one side effect. That's what you get for That's what happens when you don't crouch. So Link actually had to do double the shots, or roughly double the shots as Mumu did. That's many seconds lost there. So sometimes sometimes knowledge of the strat alone can really improve a runner's time. And Mumu gets the room Mumu is in right now is much trickier than Lux, because ideally you want to keep your space jump up to the top platform, but you have to descend a good bit vertical distance at the beginning of the room. And as I said earlier, if Samus falls for too long, you lose space jump. When you do a space jump too early, too quickly, it doesn't register. So in that section, they actually wanted to descend vertically while keeping their space jump. So they have to be very delicate with their space jump taps, which a viewer would never know unless you play the game. So Super Metroid just has so many details that are hard to notice, but these are all optimizations. So on Link's side, he will want to avoid falling in the. Okay, he's taking. Okay, nice. Okay, I'm loving these consistent strats that both artists are using. Link did that section very consistently by doing again springball strat over it. If you fall down there, that's at least a minute of time loss. And you see Link doing many small space jumps to keep his space jump so that he can space jump up here. But unfortunately, I think he did too many, so that probably ended up costing him time. But still, that was That's a well executed room. At least better than Muumu's, because Muumu had to fall down. And you see Samus Echo in Muumu's screen, so I assume he went for the Shine Spark kill on the Metal Pirates, which is a good strat. Yeah, it's a cool strat, but unfortunately I missed it. For Reggie Springball though, a very difficult but very very cool Springball strat that you can do in only the completion categories or the alike. And while Moon fight this boss, let's see if he gets this double KO. It's a pretty difficult and cool strat that saves a good amount of time. Oh, okay. Link actually doesn't even opt for the first KO. Okay, so Link's playstyle, I really like it. He's playing very consistently. He knows exactly what he's doing for every single room. That's sometimes more important than going for all the crazy options, because some of the crazy options get pretty nasty in terms of difficulty. So it's just hard to get consistent at. And this Ridley fight is really giving Mumu some trouble. So Ridley is one of the hardest boss to optimize. It's not one of the hardest boss to beat or fight correctly in this category, but it's hard to optimize because the movement of Ridley is entirely random, and the tail of Ridley actually has an AI on its own. So it's hard to predict what Ridley will do. So some people say that Ridley is 100% can be 100% manipulated, but it's just a very hard fight overall because you are constantly reacting to Ridley's movement and shooting charge shots onto him. It's only 20 shots. It only takes 20 shots to kill him, but just the way his AI is makes the fight hard to optimize. The optimal room time is 40 seconds from beginning to end, but not many runners did that in any runs. Mumu does finish off Ridley, had some trouble, got picked up a few times, but still ahead. Oh, he went for the reverse powerhouse strat, where he do a space jump in that while running inside the acid to space jump across this room. It's not that fast, but it's a cool strat. This room in particular, let's see the strat of Mumu's choosing. This room is one of the coolest and one of the hardest rooms for beginners. Just doing this wasteland room, as we call it, the other way around. So let's see it. So he's going to use screw attack to kill. Okay, he's going for the slightly harder version. Gets a speed out. Very nice. So he used screw attack to kill 2 of the hoppers, and then did a charged beam shot to kill the last hopper while running towards it. And that allowed him to get a speedball, and that broke 2 bombs in 4 seconds. So this room Mumu is in right now, it's also a difficult room to optimize. That room, he upstairs, and this room, this fire free rooms are 2 of the hardest rooms to move correctly in North and North Air, just because they're both vertical and the platforms kind of line around each other. And the Mumu is actually gonna get a buffer deboost from the Firefly, and I think he got the speed keep too. If you do Samus's movement correctly, you can actually get Samus to overlap with the energy tank as well as the enemy, which means you can actually buffer a backward input during the fanfare. In that case, it becomes a frame perfect. In that case, that's equivalent to doing a frame perfect deboost. So you can actually do something called speed keep, where you get more momentum than you're supposed to. Link not going for the speedball, having to bomb his way back out. Just a very consistent way to go about it. See the movement for Link in this room. It's really hard to move correctly. Yeah, so you can see that he's trying to cut the movement, cut the jumps close, and he's bonking. And probably one of the hardest things to do in all of Super Metroid is not bonking or not missing any jumps. 100% run. Can't have like perfect movements throughout, like no bonks, no loss of momentum in any room. Optimize this game. And we'll see we will see Mumu pick up this last item in lower north, and he'll be piecing out. This particular missile pack just hit him very nicely, and getting out of this small area Mumu is in right now is actually kind of tricky. Let's see. Okay, oh, he does it very smoothly. That's the one tile that you need to jump out of, and it's not as easy as it seems to do it smoothly. Obviously, you can take your time and set it up, but doing that in one go is rather tricky. Neither runner went for a Hollow Ruby special, a very difficult and cool speedball strat in the room Link is in right now. Moon gonna go for a mission. Okay, Moon doesn't go for the Leap of Faith, so play consistent, as I say. Got that space jump into this room. That's one of the harder jumps for at least for me in terms of timing, because for some reason I feel like the door transition from Bubble Mountain leading to that reserve room, not reserve, the missile room seems to vary. Seems to be a little different. Takes a different amount of time compared to normal door transition, but that just might be my misconception. Link shooting out the block. Okay, so slight strat differences in these in all of these rooms. And let's see if Link can get this room correctly. And you see Link having to slowly jump his way out. The one tile is just really hard to get into. A nice strat going from all the way from the depth of the Bubble Mountain to the bottom right side, and getting a quick drop. He actually got there very fast, so that Ripper got frozen in place. So that's small, just minor time loss there, but you know, it's at the end of the day, it's rather trivial. He's gonna take this shortcut to get into Fox Speedway, and he is done with North Air. So I'll keep a note of his North Air exit time just to compare the two runners. I think space jumping through this room. Ideally, you want to use your screw attack to kill these enemies when you're space jumping, because when you shoot out these items, you use charge wave plasma ice, and when you have ice and plasma equipped, it actually causes a good bit of lag with a bunch of enemies in the room. But these are just some very I'm just being picky about the strats. There's some small things you can do. Oh, and I say it, and I forgot to keep track of Mumu's time. So I'll just I'll see how it goes. Link deciding to powerbomb that block earlier, which is a faster strat compared to what Mumu did, but it's only minor. It's very trivial. So so in the end, they'll pick up this very powerful item, the X-ray scope. It's one of the most important items you want to use. Oh, you need a bright breakthrough, and Mumu unfortunately missing the first jump, and that jump allows Samus to have a good amount of momentum. So now Mumu needs to just space jump his way back slowly, getting a nice spring ball up there. I don't quite know the times, but okay, so Mumu did pick up at 1903 or sorry 1901 X-ray scope, so I can use that as a metric. So yeah, both runners will be space jumping on the back from X-ray. There's actually a short charge you can do there. Very difficult short charge. Not so realistic for runs, but it's faster. It's about as best as a human can get, obviously, on short charging. Well, now Mumu is entering Green Star, and we should remember that since he didn't open the yellow. Okay, so he's probably aware. So he has a powerbomb selected. So he's probably aware that he didn't open the yellow door. So yeah, so he'll be opening it up. And this room, the Green Hill zone, the community calls it. It's just perfectly shaped for space jumping back up from the lower right hand side corner of the room, but it's actually kind of tricky to time the jumps because and get the space jump, because you want to obviously have build as much speed as possible before doing a space jump. But when you have too much speed, because there is a cooldown space jumping needs, it actually becomes unable to clear the room in one jump. So the runners really have to know a lot of details to do exactly the right strat. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Link is roughly 1 minute and 20 seconds or so behind. That's a little hard to overcome at this point in the round. There are probably only 10 more minutes remaining. But Mumu is having some movement difficulties with movement, so he can still come back. I completely failed to cover Mumu's options in those few rooms, but this blue area, the retro green star, I think it's the hardest portion of Green Star in 100%. It's harder than the Green Star cleanup. It's harder than when you first visit it. These series of 4 rooms or so all have. Oh, okay, nice. So Mumu got the space jump right into that one tile gap. That's actually pretty difficult. I cannot get consistent, so I have to opt for a move. But these sequence of rooms, if you do it the absolute optimal way, are some of the hardest rooms in the entire category, I feel. But both runners play it conservative and safe. So that's all cool. You see Mumu charging a Shiny Spark and riding this elevator up. The charge time actually doesn't run out, doesn't expire when you're on, or doesn't even get consumed when you're on elevator, allowing him to Shiny Spark across this room. This is actually not the fastest way to go about it, but it's a very consistent strat, and the fastest strat isn't much faster at all. So exiting this room, Mumu is in right now. Okay, he's doing the angle. Nice. So you notice that Mumu was holding angle to prevent Samus's limit Samus's movement and jumping slowly back out. That's a good way to do it. The fastest way, obviously, is to do a bunch of ledge grabs on the way out, but it's so difficult to make them optimal. Also, Mumu choosing to. So okay, these are some very interesting strat choices I've seen from both runners. Mumu choosing to freeze the Puyons or whatever their names are. I usually call them the jumpers, but the jumpers, and charging a Shiny Spark to fly across them. The fastest way to do that room is to freeze them and run across, but it's obviously a little hard to time. If Mumu gets a nice mock ball into this room, you can get a mock ball out of this room too, and that one is actually very cool. Oh, Link Shiny Spark into no, that's gonna bonk. Yeah, Link wasn't able to jump before he did the Shiny Spark input, so didn't you just okay, playing it safe too. Playing it safe. I respect that. Anyway, that was the last item. Before I know this, that was the last item for Mumu. Oh, what? Oh, never mind. Okay, this is interesting. I completely forgot Mumu. No, Mumu did do Gauntlet. Or I think he did. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Watch on Link's screen. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of lag, but you saw he did it very fast by freezing the jumpers and running across it. That's the optimal way to do it. I'm not quite sure why Mumu is. Okay, I didn't watch his ammo. Maybe someone in the chat can point out, but maybe he was low on ammo, so he wanted to refill. But that little detour actually cost Mumu a good number of seconds. Link caught up a little bit, but not quite there yet to make it a comfortable catch up. So, but anyway, Mumu has collected all the items he needs. Oh, okay. So Mumu, you guys in the chat will see. That's a very clever option to take. So the numbers you're looking for are 235. Wait, is it 235? It has to be, right? No, 230, right? 230 missiles. Yeah. The numbers you're looking for are 230, 50, and 50 when you get 100%. And that's exactly what the Moon's screen shows. So at least he's safe. But honestly, I don't know what he will be doing if he realizes he missed some of the items, because it's hard to keep track of which item you missed. So at least Moo will finish the category, that's for sure. Dink did not check. Dink didn't do the item check, which is a natural thing to do in a race. Usually, you don't want to take the detour and check your ammos, but Moo was ahead by quite a bit, so he had the luxury had the privilege to just be extra safe. And now Moo is entering one of the hardest areas in all of Super Metroid, in every single category, I suppose. Torian, the 100% is particularly difficult because the movement items you have open up possibilities to some crazy strats. So that's a very conservative room 1 that Moo did. Freeze the so Metroids, you have to freeze them and either shoot 5 missiles to kill them, or you can shoot 1 super to kill them. So Moo did a nice grouping strat. He made it do that for room 4, but let's see his room 3, which is one of the harder rooms. But gets across pretty fast. Yeah, pretty good. That's a good room. That's a good room. Solid. And here he may or may not. Yeah, he's gonna do a grouping strat to kill all the Metroids without much difficulty. In the meantime, Link actually opted to turn off his screw attack. No, not screw attack. Wait, maybe Varia. I know he didn't pause, but I don't quite know what he turned off. He might turn off Varia suit. The reason I will explain later if he didn't do so. The belt is going through the retro rooms too, and Moo coming up to one of the more important tricks in the game. Okay, so you see him damaging himself down. That's a very clever thing to do. And here comes the baby skip. This is an important trick. 100%. So let's see if he gets it. He goes for a dash setup, which I like. I go for a dash setup too, or actually I used to. That's an early jump. But he nails it. Very nice. Very nice. That looked a little sketchy to my eye. The last jump may have been earlier than I like it to be, at least for myself. But he still makes it. So he skips the Metroid. That's the important part. Getting a skip is very important. 100%. That's missing the skip is 30 seconds. I never know the actual numbers, but anyway. Okay, so Moo actually did turn off his screw attack early on. So you see him doing the Zemetai skip, or skipping that first layer by freezing a ring object, and then to spin jump into it. That's a very easy and fast way to do it. But okay, let's focus on the baby skip first. I'll explain a Zemetai skip. Close. Okay, that jump was too aggressive. It's unfortunate. That was a close race, but this will probably be the decider. That jump Link there was too aggressive, so the baby actually dashed onto Samus. And you can see that when you get grabbed, you have 0 health, and there's this added cutscene that you have to go through. But Link does. Okay, Link might have seen his reserve. 5 health. 5 health. You cost an extra pause. So you see him doing this crystal flash. I'm not sure whether this is faster than taking a refill. It may or may not be, but at least now he has enough health for Moo just finished up smoothly. To defeat this boss, you need at least 300 energy minimum. So after baby dash onto Samus, you basically have to refill no matter what. And you see Moo damaging himself to below 100 while still being able to move. Okay, first let's check Link's setup. Nice. Okay, so Link, he had screw attack on. So skipping that first layer of enemy is called Zemetai. This trick is called Zemetai skip. It's most easy when you have no screw attack enabled, because you can just freeze the ring object and then do spin jumps onto it to go across. But with such as invulnerability frames, but having screw attack basically removes that invulnerability frame when you do a spin jump. So Link actually had to do a much harder strat called the down back Z skip, but he nailed it first try, so cool for him. And having screw attack will actually make the escape faster because there's one trick that you can do in the escape called a blue bomber that really requires the screw attack. It's only about 1.3 seconds though, but it's a cool strat. That's the possibility is still alive in next three on next side. So you see Moonless damaging Mother Brain doing this long baby cutscene. That's not something you're supposed to be able to do, but you see Link adjusting his health to below a certain threshold while having more than 700. When you have more than 700 energies while taking a first Rainbow Beam, Samus can actually stand up, can actually move around, attack Mother Brain in the cutscene, and if you missed it, Moo side, the last Mother Brain fight, Mother Brain 3, the last phase was very short due to the stand-up glitch and the preemptive hits that he was able to get in. So Moo is okay. So Moo in that vertical, when he turned right, so the door got the transition became really bad, but he catched himself by turning left to fix the transition a little bit. But Moo is in the escape. Doing a Shine Spark up there. That's the one spot Link can save time over Moo by having screw attack because he can actually do a faster strat. Coming up to the last move in the game, doesn't get it. This move is actually quite significant. Saves more than a second, a little more than a second. But Moo is quite a bit ahead. So if he's listening to my commentary, Moo, please save the animals. At least for me. You see Link doing the stand-up glitch, damaging Mother Brain preemptively. And Moo in one of the more difficult rooms in the escape, the Parter. Parter is just a difficult room no matter what. And you see the screen shaking, it just makes it much more difficult. Thank you, Moo! Thank you! This is the first animal save I'm seeing this entire tourney. And it's on a race I'm commentating on. Man, this is an honor. It's not taunt, right? No, it's not taunt. Thank you, Moo. So you see, if you're new to the game, this particular room has a few animals in it, as you saw. Oh, and Moo even leaves the door open. No, what a gentleman! What a gentleman! If you come save them optimally, for all it's about 23 or maybe 22 seconds, maybe even less, that you're wasting by saving the animals. But it's just a nice thing to do. And GG to Moo. That's a fantastic run. Fantastic. Absolutely magnificent, even with a great ending. Okay, Link, even though he did have a screw attack, he didn't go for a blue bomber. So I'm slightly saddened, but it's a consistent. Blue bomber is a difficult strat that only saves a little more than a second. So I really respect Link's choice there. I respect it. And doing the wall jump climb stuff here. The next room has some depending on runners can have different strategies. Let's see what he does. So Link goes for the right side Shine Spark up. That's a very good consistency. Oh wait, okay, wait, what? Oh okay, probably Link forgot let go of his D-pad for briefly, but that's a standard way to do it. I think Numi did a diagonal spark to get up. That's slightly more tricky. And Link in this vertical room too, in harder room to optimize movement, especially with the screen shaky. Thank you, Link. Thank you. Oh my God, this is a pleasure. I'm just honored to be here to witness two runners both saving the animals, and even Link doing a cool strat to charge a spark, saving the animals, and shine sparking. Oh, the frames ran a little bit short, so he wasn't able to get the cool spark. Actually, the spark back on the way back is technically slower, but it's a cool strat to see. But anyway, both runners choosing to save the animals, so there's no time difference in that regard. Just both runners respecting each other and also respecting the commentator. GG for Link. GG, that's a good type of bush runners. So 133 and 135. Yeah. So with without the missed baby skip, this could have been a pretty rather close race, but still 95 minutes of gameplay and only 2 minutes of separation. That's a good race. That's a good race. So GG to Link as well, and huge GG to Mumu. Also, Mumu, please hop in for some interview if you so wish. Same goes for Link. Hello, Mumu. Hello.
Hello.
GG on your race. GG. That was a good run. That was a good run.
Thanks. Yeah, I was a bit rusty. I haven't run Endo in like a year or so, and I took a break of Super Metroid recently. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Hello, Link. GG on your race too.
Yeah, GG Mumu.
Yeah, GG Link.
So at least for Mumu, one of the things I noticed, as he mentioned, he was a little slightly rusty. Probably the gauntlet round shot was something that you couldn't just remember off the top of your head, and I don't expect you to just recall it out of nowhere if you're rusty on this. But you really, I think you made the best out of it, like having no health post Phantom. Also, I remember that was a very close shine spark you did to Redshift Reserve. Was that on your mind?
I was hoping I had enough on my reserve. I forgot I could grapple bullying if I need to, and I was like, please have enough in my reserve. And I saw 70. I was like, ooh, that's nice. That's enough. I'm good.
Yeah, you had 40 health remaining after getting up there, so that was a close moment.
Yeah.
At least for Link, for you, I think there are many options that you took that, at least for me, or I was somewhat unfamiliar with, like grabbing the ammos between before bottom, or like grabbing the energy tank, bottom energy tank on the face first time around. So that was I feel like that was a very consistent run from you. Did you have anything to say about your run?
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, I've gotten the aqueduct items before Botwoon from back before I was really consistent with Botwoon and Dragon. I think now I could probably switch back to doing them later, but I don't think doing them early loses a ton of time, and I think there's a lot of...
That is correct, yeah. That is correct.
Yeah, there's so much time all over the place that I could save by just putting practice into things. Like I think all of Lower Norfair, and I mean, yeah, all over the place basically.
I do remember after you unfortunately missed the Dragon opening. Okay, that's another thing I want to ask Moon later. But after you missed the Dragon opening, the rain dance, you actually had to switch to a bit of an ammo kill, I think, at the end. So picking up the extra ammos really helped you in that regard, I think. You used a good number of supers on Dragon. So I really respect that route choice. I think it's very viable. But I do also notice that Mumu didn't go for Mumu. For you didn't seem to go. I don't think you went for X Factor on either Dragon or Batu.
Yeah, I knew I couldn't get I was not going to get the X Factor on Botwoon, so I decided to go for a 2-cycle using supers. I had enough. And then for Dragon, I wanted to go for the grapple kill, but I failed it.
I see. Is that what happened? Okay. Shame on me for missing that. That would be a cool. So that would be a cool thing to see for both runners. Just two different ways to kill Dragon. So I think that's just some things about your rust with 100%. But
yeah.
Still, you two both play really consistent. That was a really fun race for me to commentate. Any thoughts on future races? Maybe you can start first.
I don't know. I didn't join the tournament to win, just to have some fun. So whoever I'm facing, it will be fine, you know.
Yeah, and it's really fun for us to commentate and watch the races because of course in Super Metroid every runner has a different play style, and seeing them just side by side it's really interesting. So yeah. So really, I really appreciate you taking part in the tournament and offering the show for us. Link, do you have any thoughts about future races?
I mean, pretty much the same. Yeah, I joined this just to kind of have some fun, do some different categories and such. And even though both my races thus far have been 100%, but I think like that. Well, yeah, I'm suspecting next week's 100. I haven't looked at what's on the rotation next week. I think 100% is probably going to be off the rotation next week.
That is correct. If I'm not mistaken, it should be any percent RBO and triple bingo. But I may be mistaken.
Yeah, so that'll be a really interesting week, I think, because it's like, to be like, yeah, it'll. Yeah, because I think we might actually see more triple bingos next week as runners start to get closer in skill level because of the Swiss.
You think so? You think so? Interesting. I was actually expecting less triple bingos, but yeah, just some things to look forward to, especially RBO for next week. I don't know if anyone's gonna pick it. Maybe some runners, but so those are some shows that awaits us. So I'm very excited for that. Any last thoughts about the run, or about the today's or anything? Any last thoughts that you want to say?
No, nothing special.
And Link?
Yeah, no, just thank you for the commentary, and thanks SpeedGaming and Fiesel for setting this up. So,
thank you guys for putting up the race, and thank you guys, thank you both of you for saving the animals. Maybe one of you heard my call, I suppose, but that was just great to see. That was the first animal save I saw in this in this entire tournament. So good stuff. Then if you guys don't have much to say anymore, I think that will be it. So thank you guys for the race. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to follow the runners. I know both of them play. They're long-time runners, Super Metroid. So follow, and see you guys next mission. Thanks for watching.